then, it's time.
It's Thanksgiving time, everybody, and what better way to, I guess, come together as a family unit than bringing up all the old stories and stressors and things that we all go through, because it happens. We're family. Can't really avoid it. Got to deal with it. But today we got Rachel Duncan on, which you guys have seen her previous episode. We're going to dive into some techniques, some thoughts, some things around coming home, Thanksgiving, money, etc. So, Rachel, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Stoy.
Yes. And so this is just a fun time of the year for me. I just love it because you see all the stories, things pop up, and it just gets crazy for us all. But why is it that during this time frame around the table, you're with your family, why do money triggers happen around this time frame? Like what really happens that brings it out of everybody?
Well, to roll things way back, the reason why your family pushes your buttons is because they put them there. They put those buttons there. So they know exactly, right? All subconscious. No one's intentionally pushing people's buttons, usually. But you're talking old nervous system wiring. And I would say, by and large, most people find that going home again or being with family is more stressful than it ought to be. I would say that's such a common thing. Oh, my family's dysfunctional. It's well, I have yet to meet a quote functional family. I have to say, I think, if you're feeling God, something like this isn't right. Also, if you're feeling oh, I'm 14 when I go home. I find that a lot when I'm with my family. Oh, I'm a teenager again, even though out in the world, I'm a pretty functional adult. So it's just interesting and very normal for the family system, as we say, to snap you back to an earlier time. It's just very normal. Not saying it's good or bad. It just is a very common phenomenon. And then when it comes to money, this is an interesting thing. I might have said this on the other episode, I don't know. But research shows that our fundamental money beliefs are formed by age 8. And that's before you're even handling your own money. That is all from cues you're taking from the people around you who are dealing with money. So it's conversations you're overhearing. It's money decisions you're witnessing happening. It's usually what is said, which we're not always saying everything. It's also, or maybe our first experiences with, say, if you got allowance and how you used that. And so all of those things wires is very young. Is money a safe topic? Is it a scary topic? Is it a confusing topic? And those things will sit with us if we don't go back as adults and process that. If we don't process it, it will kind of be a time capsule of whatever those beliefs were that you picked up from your family by age 8. So then, okay, let's say you're 40, in your 40s, and you go back up, and then you're I'm 9 again. It's a normal phenomenon. And just to understand that if you feel kind of young, if you feel kind of immature, that's probably speaking to a time in your life that might need some processing on your own outside of your family.
Yeah, I agree. And I challenge everyone to, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen, right? You're going to get into that mode. Maybe spin it differently of just saying, hey, let's talk about this next week. Right. Sure. Try to push it to a different time. I do think it needs to be talked about, whether it's the discussion of we never talked about money as a family. Right.
Mm-hmm. But maybe not at Thanksgiving. That's time and place we can try. It depends. Also, I don't think, not all of us will get much satisfying conversation with our family about it. We might. Really depends, right? Everyone's got their own story and their own thing to work out. It is sometimes a more solo practice or with someone outside of your family system. Because what's interesting is how you experience money might not be anything like how someone else in your family experienced that same scenario. So that can feel a little maddening. Wait, those were really lean times. And then your mom might be no, it wasn't. And then you feel what's happening here? But truly, we're all the heroes of our own stories. So I think also managing your expectations of what can be done in relationship and what sometimes needs to be done out of relationship that is a little bit maybe on your own, because we can't change people. We wish we could. We try. But you know what we can change, Stoy? Like, we can't change other people, but we can shift a relationship. And that's different, right? I can't change how you are in this world necessarily, but I can change how we relate, which speaks to boundaries, the big B word.
Which we'll get to. We'll get to.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Teaser, get into
Yeah.
them.
Teaser, boundaries.
Segment number 2 is what society media is saying. So a little myth
Mm.
busting going on
Okay.
here. This is a fun one. Probably my
Mm.
favorite of all
Okay.
segments, and I say that literally every episode. So get used to it, people. But
It's all the best.
yeah, right. How about this? So you've been your friends, someone, they're just saying this is what they love to say is just avoid the topic. Right? Just avoid the topic.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I ever tell my wife just avoid the topic, that topic's getting brought up. There's no avoiding the topic specifically after I say that. So
Yeah.
what do you have to say to that comment or to that quote?
Well, I'm curious, do you have an example in mind? Like, is there something that's maybe come up, something you've heard about, or even in your family? Like, because it's so hard, the topic, I don't know what, it could be so many things. Do you have an example we could work with?
Yeah. So I've heard this one a couple times, and I'm not going to verbatim say what the story was, but like they're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And typically it has to do with like brother, sister, something, right? Said something to mom and dad prior months earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This scenario actually had to do with a birthday party and why the grandparents went to one grandchild's and not the other grandchild's, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That situation.
Gotcha.
And so was told, hey, someone don't bring that up during Thanksgiving. Actually, this one was for Christmas. It's like, let's not bring it up now. Let's let the kids have fun, do their thing, right? Yeah. Well, ipso facto, it so happened to be involved with like, okay, everyone's having drinks, everything's fine. I'm cool, everything's going to go well. And then all of a sudden, someone brings up said birthday party, right? Because the kid got a present and was very similar to it, and then it just like it triggers from there, right? So I've heard that story not only with my wife and our family, other families of like it's always something that is going to happen, and if you say don't think about it or don't do it, it's going to be on the tip of the tongue, and so that's
I mean, avoidance in a lot of things doesn't generally work. It can maybe work in the moment, right? This all depends, right? What are you up for, right? And managing expectations, though, like it's not like, oh, we either avoid it or we completely hash it out. Like those aren't the only two options. So like, I think sometimes we get into black and white thinking, right? We either never talk about it or we totally get into it. So like, can I hold some love that this was a painful, confusing thing? There are hurt feelings here. Like I know this. I love these people. And, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is my bias as a therapist, but I think we can actually like tolerate other people's feelings a little more than we give ourselves credit for. Like some awkwardness, maybe even if you're not involved, but you're seeing something play out, it's not your job to save anybody. But if there's an opening to even say, this feels really painful right now, or wow, that was awkward. I think we can sometimes do things like this exists. Maybe now's not the time to get into it, but it's not the case of avoidance. It's like, I'm so glad you actually brought that up, right? Do you think we could talk about that maybe next week? Like, I'd love to talk with you on Sunday, right? So there could be, sometimes it's a not right now conversation. All depends obviously of what you're up for. And if someone really wants to engage, then there might be some real boundary setting. But I think actually we are all longing to be real. Yeah. And it's a horrible feeling if you're on the other side of that. Like, I am super upset about this. I can't believe no one's talking about it. And I'm triggered and I'm going to start talking about it. For someone to say, let's not talk about that now. Yeah, it's the worst, right? You're like capping the bomb. But like, God, I've wanted to talk about this too. This thing sucks. I think we could do, I want to repair. I want things to be better. Do you think we could talk about it, on Sunday or something? I think that can validate. Like we do need to validate everyone's feelings are valid. I know I'm a therapist here, and I know sometimes it doesn't seem like it. Like, I don't know why they're angry, but if someone's angry or upset, it's because they're hurt. We can validate that, right? Or sometimes it was confusing. This was confusing. I think also having a few things in your back pocket, right? Like, anyone excited to see Wicked? I think we can, like, if it feels like there's such weight in the room and no one's quite ready to do it. But like the topic brought up, I think if you have it in you, if you feel like you can do this and name it, that's kind of awkward, guys. Can we talk about our movie plans? Like, I think that's okay. Instead of avoidance, it's a bit of a redirection. And I think having a few things in your pocket to redirect might be, especially what are we looking forward to? Could be a great question.
What about this next one? Just say yes to everything to keep the peace.
Okay. You're talking to a recovering people pleaser. So there are times, depending on the relationships in our lives, where to stay safe and just get through, we just put on that mask and say yes. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're on a journey and you feel that your family is, or any of these relationships are up for it, try something different instead of yes. And that doesn't mean no, right? Again, let's avoid the binary thinking. There is a book that I read this year that changed my life about boundaries. I had to look it up. It's called Set Boundaries, Find Peace, A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself by a therapist named Nedra Glover Tawwab. I hope I'm saying that right. It is the book, everyone. It really did change my life. Because she kind of talks about sometimes you say, oh, it's either there's a boundary or there's none, or a boundary means no, or there's none. But really a boundary is you saying what you will do, what you will do, not, you can't change anyone else's behavior. So if like, oh, okay, my old family role is just saying yes all the time, and that has been a harmful habit for me that I'm trying to change, it could be not right now, or could you give me a day to think about that? Right? That's a powerful shift from just being always agreeable and pleasant. However, fawning, we call that fawning, is one of the trauma reactions. So if in your history, fawning has been a way for you to stay safe, let's honor that. Maybe that is the best solution. But if you feel like there's a little bit of room to start establishing yourself as a grown-up with your family, it could be like, you know what will work for me? Right? Everyone's like, hey, let's all get together and go to this movie. And you really don't want to, or let's say financially, you can't afford it or whatever. Be like, I love that for you guys. I'm going to sit this one out, but tell me how it goes. Right? There's still kind of a yes in there. You're still being pleasant and agreeable, but isn't that a powerful boundary? Play with that. And I'll say, if you are on your own personal journey, trying to change some of your habits, your family unknowingly, all subconsciously, will try to snap you back to how you were. Nobody means to do this, but this is a fact of like family therapy is the family system likes homeostasis, likes things to stay the same, even if that sucks, like the devil, So when it's usually that person who's in therapy who is like changing themselves and, trying new things. The folks around you, your family, will be like, but you used to always agree. And so don't get mad at them. That's them pulling back to homeostasis. They're just not on the journey you're on. You may have to say it again. And again. It may feel a little uncomfortable, but who here has grown, without discomfort? And that will usually plant the seed for this relationship shifting. You're not changing the person, but you are shifting. Like, hey, maybe I'm not just going to be always available. I used to be, but not anymore. And they'll, stay at it, stay to your integrity, what you will and what you won't do. You can still be really kind about it. You don't have to be mean about it. And, we'll see. Everyone's family is different, but usually when someone sets a boundary, it does benefit everybody. Did that answer your question?
It did. And it kind of bled over to our next segment with your point of view. So we're just going to keep diving into the whole boundary conversation. And first of all, one, you've got to recognize what boundaries you want to set, right? Like you got to start there. So how do we do that, right? How do we even start that journey for ourselves to, one, recognize that we need to set boundaries, and then truly go on that journey of setting them. Not holding them yet. I don't even get to that part. We just need to set them first. How do we do that?
This is one of my favorite topics because it's my final frontier. Like I'm 40, almost 46, and I'm like, feel like I just started working on this. So like it's my final frontier. So I think about it a lot. And in my membership, actually, I do a lot of workshops about boundary setting because boundaries are funny. What's interesting about a healthy boundary is you don't know it's there. When it's working, you don't know. You only know it when it's crossed, right? There's that ouch, there's that zing, there's that, why did they ask that of me? Or this kind of thing is exhausting. Like, but there's like innumerable boundaries that are happening all the time that are working great that you don't even realize. So that's what's interesting is that we can't really define a boundary usually until it's crossed. So that's kind of where I start. Like, let's take an example of a financial boundary that was crossed. Either like someone crossed your financial boundary or sometimes you saw it happen. So that could be the first thing is like, okay, how do I know? And usually it's a sensory feeling, right? I get a pit in my stomach or I start sweating or I want to get out of there or, I do a trauma reaction, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, so it's like, oh, okay, that's how I know when it is happening. So that's really good, right? Like when I get that feeling, there's some boundary stuff happening here. And then back up and look at what is a story of a financial boundary being upheld? And a lot of times it's something you saw between people or sometimes, an interaction you had. How did that feel? Right. Some examples that I've heard is like, oh, my friend, we were all going to a concert and they said, you know what, that's not, I won't be able to afford that. I'll see you guys later. And this client kind of witnessed that happening and was like, what? Like they did the thing that I wish I'd done. I couldn't afford it either, And so I think paying attention to other people, maybe behaving in ways that you feel like has a lot of integrity or taught you something or gave you a boundary there. And then how did that feel? Oh, that is often, I feel whole. I felt seen, all kinds of sensory things. And of course, I'm an art therapist, so we make two images. We make an image of what it feels like to have a boundary crossed and an image of what it feels like to have a boundary upheld, financial or otherwise. And now we have two very real, like sensory experiences and depicted visually. And they're usually really, really telling, right? And we're really looking at the differences between these two feelings. So then we're going to take that image, that experience of a boundary being upheld. And like, this is something you can feel and notice where else you feel it in your life. So, I mean, this is more of the therapist's approach to it, but we all know the difference. And I'd say like dial up your sensitivity to really feeling that. Notice there are people in your life who might have some, different kinds of boundaries or boundary practice around some things. And if you notice it and you're like, God, I wish I could say that. Sit with that. What would that feel like? What would that be like to set that kind of boundary? So, yeah, did that answer your question, or did that? Yeah.
When we talk about money, there's a word that comes around money a lot for a lot of people, and that's shame, right?
The number one word.
They feel shameful of the lack of money.
Yeah.
You name their situation.
Yeah.
Then when you feel all that shame, you also then kind of spiral into this, I'm comparing myself to everyone else and where they're at.
Yeah.
Right. Those go hand in hand a lot. How do we, one, recognize that in ourselves? I know I feel it. Others might not have recognized that, but it's a visceral feeling for me when I get into that little spiral and
yes,
not okay. So one, how do we feel it? And then what's a good tool to get us kind of not out of it, because it's not the easiest thing to do, but at least right-sized a little bit?
Well, I keep thinking about this, thinking about holidays and coming together with family. And a lot of times shame can come up when there's wealth differences within a family. And, Brene Brown has taught us that shame and guilt are kind of cousins, but they are different actually, right? Shame is, I'm a bad person. And guilt is, I made a mistake. I did something I wish I hadn't done. So I think one thought exercise, if you're feeling shame about your financial situation, or for example, with a lot of people I work with, like I feel shame about how much I spend. Could I literally replace the word guilt and put that in instead of shame in that script? I feel guilty about how much I've spent. oh, doesn't that start to, for me, that starts shifting a little bit. Guilt is something I can do something about, right? Like, oh, how could I not feel guilty? Oh, I'd love to, spend with more integrity or build up my savings. Now we're going somewhere because it isn't like about me as a human. It's not about my validity. So I think that's just like on its basis, I would write down the nasty old script you got about yourself right now, right? Like I have a lot of shame. I feel I have a lot of secrets. I have a lot of shame about my financial situation, and just try out. I have a lot of guilt about my financial situation. No, it's still dark. It's still heavy, but guilt can move us to, we actually have lots of frameworks to deal with guilt. Like religion has a lot of frameworks to deal with guilt. Like you can do something about that. It's making amends. It's changing your behavior, stuff like that. So that's sort of like my first thought. And I think the other thing is just what I said at the top, that shame is the number one word associated with money. So if you're feeling a ton of shame, another kind of thought is, well, could they also be experiencing shame about something I don't know about? Like we all have a lot of stuff in our closets, and even the people who look like they have their money stuff together. I mean, Stoy, you and I have looked under a lot of hoods. Like the people sometimes who really look like they have it together, there is stuff going on financially you would never guess. So I think there can be a little bit, gosh, I'm carrying all this shame. I feel like I'm the only one who is bad with money, but I think Stoy and I are here to tell you, like, good chances are really good. There's a lot of other people in your family who might not have the same situation as you. There could be gambling addiction. There could be spending addiction. There could be unmanageable debt, all kinds of stuff that we are all working really hard to keep under wraps. So a little bit of normalizing is that if you're feeling like you have to keep a lot of your money stuff secret, everybody has secrets. You're not the only one. And if we can go to a place of guilt to work through, then you're gonna find your way out of it.
I think if you if you transition that to that guilt too, it helps you align with other people. Kind of what you're just saying, like, here it is, folks. No one has their shit together. Okay, from billionaires, trillionaires down to people who have negative money. Like, no one does. Okay? We're here to tell you it's just the truth. It is what it is. But I think if you lay more on the guilt part, I can talk to you and we can be guilty together, right?
Yeah.
We can both feel guilt together. The shame doesn't. It puts us in a box in a wall away from everyone in the corner, right? It's just no way around that. So I really believe people, like, if you shift to guilt, it allows us to then align with others. And at the end of the day, this podcast, what we do, what we put out in content in general, and why we work with people is we want you to be able to talk to others. We want to normalize these conversations because these conversations around money and everything drive almost every other decision there is, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. And if we can normalize these conversations, we can truly then start to help each other and not try to put each other down. And I personally haven't seen a lot of financial conversations around putting someone down because they don't have money. Like, I've rarely seen it. Yeah, no. I've always seen someone.
We do it to ourselves.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. Yes. It is actually to ourselves that then we push out and make it feel like people are saying and doing that thing. And it's not. It's your own brain. And we have to be able to change that.
And I love that you brought it to connection, because that is the antidote to shame, is connection, right? The thing with shame is that it's been behind so many walls. That's what's keeping shame alive. So actually just opening that up and finding safe people to talk with. And it might not be your family. That's fine, right? But choose I think building your team of superheroes about your money, the roles that you and I play with so many clients' lives, is so important. Just the fact that, hey, like we can't just keep this behind 10 brick walls. And I know it's hard and it can be embarrassing, right? That's the other thing. Is it shame or is it embarrassment? That's also something we can work with. Embarrassment, we can work with guilt, and the relief that I witness daily with folks sharing what's really going on with their money with someone who is kind and not going to judge them. And I was like, yeah, me too, or whatever. It is palpable, that relief. And honestly, the shame goes poof. really shifts your perspective on things.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
All right. As we get in the last segment of actionable steps, all right, we've discussed a lot here. We've actually given some actionable steps,
Sure.
but I want our listeners and viewers today to leave Wednesday before Thanksgiving with a tool that they can take into this weekend, this long weekend, to one, hopefully get out of the shame part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Two, make sure that their boundaries are set enough for these stressful things that are going to happen probably in their family conversations. And three, the grace to deal with it and actually move forward with whatever their situation is after the holidays. What are some steps for us to be able to achieve those three goals?
Okay. My favorite thing is I want everyone to write down a list of all the things that they do that makes them feel like a person, that makes them feel like a whole being. I don't want to say your best self, but what makes you feel connected to being a human being. So this could be petting your dog, playing with your cat, tending to your plants, drinking that delicious tea. It's often little daily things. And that's the thing I want you to focus on. What are daily little things that really help you connect to being a person? It doesn't have to be solo either. Like a walk with my husband will fix most things without whatever's going on. So there are often these little grabs that you've experienced in the past that really help you feel like a person. I want you to just brainstorm them all. The weirder, the better. Dancing to disco music, like weird stuff, totally talking to my best friend, whatever. That really connect you to being a person. And then I want you to do one of those things every day, no matter what. So you got, Thanksgiving coming up. That morning, you are going to tend to your plants, no matter what. And so you'll have a menu. It doesn't have to be the same thing every day. You can switch it around. It could be sipping your tea and looking out the window. But I want there to be something that connects you to yourself. At least once a day, maybe twice on Thanksgiving, depending on your family situation, and really come to rely on yourself to do those things. So it could be a reminder in your calendar, sticky note on the mirror, all those things, all the things that might work for you. And to really, I call it a pleasure practice. And you could also connect that pleasure practice to just considering I am healing my relationship with money. That's it. I'm healing my relationship with money as I'm sipping my tea, as I'm playing with my dog. And just that little bit of a reminder, that little check-in with yourself will honestly do more for your money than any budget ever could. So that's
Can you say that last part again?
Yes. Connecting with yourself and with pleasure daily will do more for your money than any budget ever can.
That sentence is powerful, people. And yeah, she's a therapist. I'm not though. And I will still tell you the same exact thing.
Exactly.
The work you do on yourself, the grace that you give yourself is the catalyst to everything in life, right? And specifically money.
Yeah.
But that just jumpstarts it all and it makes it all come together. And kind of like you had said earlier about boundaries, where it doesn't feel like there's a boundary. Everyone always asks me, is like, I hate budgets, right? You get the budget eye roll thing. And I'm like, the budget is just your set boundary. But if you tied your budget to and figured out who you are and your lifestyle and your goals and those things, and that's what your budget was created off of, it no longer is a budget. It's just normal life for you. But you've set yourself with those boundaries naturally. And it just is a lifestyle at this point.
Right. Especially if we think of a boundary as what you will do, right? And that is what a budget is. This is what I will do. Or I plan for it, right? That is what it's about. And the B word, it gets a lot of flack, but we can rebrand it. We just had the whole conversation. We need to rebrand the word savings. It sucks. Let's come up with better words for it. We can rebrand this stuff. You don't have to do it the way, back to family stuff. You don't have to do money the way your family does it. You really can forge your own way. And then you're going to be even better with it when it feels like yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, hey, everyone, have a great Thanksgiving. Eat a lot of food. I'm going to eat about 4 pies. It's fine. It's my thing. I'll get over it. But Rachel, appreciate you coming on. We'll look forward to having you in the new year as well, where we dive a little deeper. Everyone, little tease here, and I'm going to throw it into this episode of we're actually going to have part of our collective, about 5 of us, more on a panel going through more of these cases from all of our different perspectives. And it's going to be really, really cool because it goes deeper and it allows you in one scenario to get 5 different minds from 5 different walks of life attacking one issue. So everyone stay tuned. Have a great holidays. And Rachel, appreciate you coming on.
Love talking with you. Thanks, Stoy.
The preceding program was sponsored by Black Mammoth. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Black Mammoth. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Black Mammoth website, www.blackmammoth.com. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions and securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice due to various factors including changing market conditions. The information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up-to-date, Black Mammoth do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature and is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Past performance is not indicative of future results.